Hey, everyone. Happy Friday. It's Super Bowl Sunday this weekend. We're going to kick our Super Bowl ads off right now. Buy Shimmy Coin, the newest crypto. You're watching Techstrong Gang. Hey, everyone. Alan Schimmel here for Techstrong Gang. It's a great Friday. It's Super Bowl weekend. You hear the sound of those cash registers jingling? That's people paying $8 million for a 30-second commercial. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the U.S. going in off the gold standard to Bitcoin and blockchain and who knows what else. And another crypto story, too, out of Security Boulevard. All that and more. But let me first introduce you to our gang lineup for today. We've got some great people to talk about it. Let's start off out west in Silicon Valley, where we have she's a radio host, a TV host, a marketing guru, everything else, our own Lisa Martin. Hey, Lisa, welcome.
Hey, Shimmy, great to see you. I want some Shimmy coin.
Some Shimmy coin. Well, look, there's gold in them there hills. But Lisa, it's great to have you. As I think I wrote on one of the LinkedIn posts you put up, whoever thought you would be happy being a gang member?
I lead Techstrong Gang colors.
I get you. I get it. But if we're out west, though, the head gang dude out there, the gang chieftain for Silicon Valley, is our own editor, John Swartz. John, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to mention something. We have breaking news that there's the federal lawmakers just introduced a bill that would ban the use of DeepSeek from all U.S. government devices. So I want to get that out there because
what kind of federal lawmaker?
2 representatives from Congress.
Oh, they don't count. If it's not an executive order, it doesn't mean anything.
I know. Oh, we're going to go down that path. Okay. But yeah, sure. He'll decide what he wants to do. But it's really interesting. This is a ban that has started. The ban was in Italy, Ireland, Australia, U.S. Navy.
Well, we could talk about it if you want, but I think in those countries, the ban is against government agencies and employees using DeepSeek. I don't think it bans it from private use.
Here it's going to be all government.
Oh, it's also only government? Well, I'm glad to see they're not stomping on the rights of individuals.
It's within the government. Not it doesn't apply to the rest of us.
For now.
But it's very significant, yes.
For now.
Yeah, it's just government-owned devices. That's it.
Right. For now.
Right.
All right.
For now.
We'll see.
All right.
But thanks for the breaking news, John.
Sure.
Maybe we'll cover that by Monday. Maybe it'll percolate up to something. Let's move now, though, over to Colorado. He's home from his Vegas sojourn, back in his guitar room. Futurum VP DevOps, Mitch Ashley. Hey, Mitch, how are you?
I remember getting off the plane at the Harry Reid International Airport. I don't remember anything. I just woke up this morning back in Colorado. So I guess it was a good trip. I enjoyed it.
Sounds like
was there a tiger in the bathroom?
Yeah, I did get the blockchain set up for Shimmy Coin, but I have bad news. Trump already has shimmycoin.com. So you got to go with something else, Alan. Sorry.
Oh, I'll sue him. There
you go.
It'll be huge. All right.
It'd be great.
Moving on from Mitch. She's our editor for Techstrong AI, as well as Gestalt IT, which we are working with our friends at Tech Field Day, and it's going to be, or it is, it's not going to be, it is our infrastructure site. We'll be talking about that more in the days and weeks to come. Salagna Saha, excuse me. Salagna, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Alan.
Great to
it's
have
good to be here.
All righty. So guys, let's jump right into it. As I mentioned, it's Super Bowl weekend. And for many of us, me included, and I'm a crazy football fan, but for many of us, the commercials are the highlights of the game, right? There's always, you get the Budweiser tearjerker commercial. There's usually a good Chevy one, maybe. It looks like we might have AI Super Bowl ads this year. Lisa, do you want to kick it off for us?
Sure. Well, I think we all definitely expect fast food, the cars you mentioned, beer, and insurance. Those are like kind of staples. But AI is expected to have a really strong presence this year. And of course, I think that really underscores the just what we expect to see globally in the years to come. But the campaigns aren't just about buying airtime. I've seen a few because they always leak the commercials ahead of time, which I never understand. There's a really funny one that Mountain Dew has that's very clearly AI with Seal, the singer, pop singer Seal. Um, but what we're going to see from Google, for example, and Meta are opportunities for these companies to really kind of shape perception around AI. It's been challenging. We talk about that all the time. There's a lot of negativity out there, but Google is doing something really cool. They're unveiling 50 different commercials in 50 different states, and they're profiling small businesses that are using AI to get more done. For example, they're going to be highlighting tasks that Google's Gemini AI can help with, like scheduling and email communications and things like that. Meta's coming back to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2022. They have a couple of A-listers. They have a couple of the Chris's. They've got, let's see, I think
Hemsworth and
Chris
Pratt.
Hemsworth and Pratt. That's right. They're going to be promoting their Ray-Ban sunglasses, their AI-powered smart glasses that you can do a whole bunch of things with. I gotta order a pair because I'm so curious to see it. But I like the idea of these companies coming in and sharing what AI can do for you, what's already doing for us to help shape that perception in a more positive light. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, commercial-wise AI related this year.
Tell you, I'm going to be seriously disappointed if there isn't a Matthew McConaughey, rolling whatever he was rolling in his Lincoln
supposed to have
Continental,
an Uber
talking to
Eats.
voice, Chat GPT. We got to have us one of them.
All right.
He's a natural to do something
Alrighty.
with Salesforce. Yeah, I mean, he should
Iconic.
do something with Salesforce, right?
He's doing something with
Yes,
Uber
yeah.
Eats. I know
Of
that.
course he is. About the NFL
yeah.
and food. What are you eating, Jerry? Rice.
Exactly.
Rice.
You know what? I wonder if there's going to be, like, we would talk about this as the AI Super Bowl in terms of ads. If there's going to be an aha moment, or if it's a breakthrough for the mainstream audience, because so many people hear things about AI, they have mixed feelings about it. And what's really weird? 40 years ago, I can't think perhaps the most iconic Super Bowl ad ran. It was Ridley Scott's Apple 1984 ad for Macintosh.
Oh my
How
gosh.
impactful was that ad? I remember
I
watching that
mean,
ad. I
1984
almost
won't
ran
be
out
like
and bought
1984.
one right then.
Mm-hmm.
right. That was it ran technically in 85.
was-
I think it was a Super Bowl between the Niners and the Dolphins out in Palo Alto.
David
the
Woodley.
Silicon Valley Super Bowl. Oh my gosh, yes, you remember that. I actually wonder though if there's like a breakthrough moment. I mean, we have DeepSeek in a weird way. DeepSeek is actually bringing attention, whether it's good or bad, to the field. It's getting people interested in the market. So I wonder if these ads, in a sense, kind of build on that, or if it's just another layer of hype that pushes us for another 6 months.
Last Thursday on my Shimmy Says on YouTube not YouTube Live, excuse me, LinkedIn Live. It's going to be you can watch it on YouTube Shorts though. This is what I discussed. Is AI living up to the hype? Where is it really delivering? What can we expect to see? And certainly proofs in the pudding here with these Super Bowl commercials. But John, I'm reminded of another era, not the Apple commercial that kicked off the Mac, right? That was amazing. But I was a dot-com baby, right? I built my first company on the internet, sold it in 97, the end of 97. And 98, 99, this was dot-com fever at a peak, right? And so many friends of mine who were founders of companies were shelling out. Back then, they were shelling out, I think it was $7 million for a 60-second commercial. Now it's $8 million for a 30-second commercial. But it was the same thing. Think back of some of the ridiculous dot-com commercials of 99 and 2000, and how many of those companies spent literally $20 million on Super Bowl ads and got it was a joke. It was a joke. Are we going to look?
Yeah, they had a lot of money to burn. They had tons of money to burn. There were so many startups
That's
too that
part
were
of
throwing
the capitalism at work, right? If you've got money, there's a place that'll soak it up, and the Super Bowl's a great sponge. Are we going to look back 20 years from now and laugh at, some of these AI companies that tried so hard here to influence us for 30 seconds when we can't wait to go back and see the cheerleaders or what they took off the end zone, what they're wearing on the back of their helmets, who's singing what anthem, and everything else, right? Are we going to try to make this Super Bowl the AI Super Bowl? And that's a good question. We'll see how it plays out. At least to me, it's about crossing the chasm. Are we still in the early adopter stage, which I think we are?
I
Or
think so too.
is this the ram's horn blowing, signaling the onslaught, across the river to the mainstream, or at least the early mainstream?
I think we are. Oh, go ahead, Salama.
um,
Sorry.
I feel like this is a really good moment to amplify the chat GPT effect. So Super Bowl is a great place to break the kind of ad and make something mainstream. So yes, I know $8 million for a 30-second spot is sounds like exorbitant, but I feel like here is a good opening for to push AI into mainstream in the public eye, even if the effect is brief or whatever. I feel like this is a good opportunity, and companies are sort of grasping at that.
So you'll
Yeah,
know
it's a
AI
massive
hit
audience.
mainstream. I'm sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, sorry, Mitch. I think I saw last year that the audience was like 200 million. So yeah, so you've got this captive audience. People have known for decades about the commercials, and if you don't care about the teams, go Eagles. The commercials are going to be funny. There's going to be something, and a lot of people watch it for that. So they have this captive audience. I wonder, so to your point, are we going to see some of the other ones? I mentioned Meta and Google, but are we going to see like the open AIs, for example, or Perplexity or Anthropic? Are they going to be doing ads and trying to get their names out there more? Everyone, ChatGPT is almost a household word. If it isn't by now, it is, of course, here in Silicon Valley. But I'm curious to see because they've got the money and we know how much it costs for 30 seconds. But are they going to have the opportunity to influence this captive audience?
I was thinking the same thing, Lisa. If OpenAI or Anthropic, one of the companies that are backed by Microsoft and Amazon, if we see something from them that kind of sparks more of an interest, I think that's significant. For now, it's what's Google, Meta, and I think even GoDaddy's doing a spot. They're known for other things, and if we have a fresh voice or something new or invigorating, then you kind of break through with more people.
We have kind of another reaction if there's so much AI in all the commercials. How do you break through the AI in all the commercials, right? So there's that effect. And it seems like there are iconic moments of, did you see that commercial where the young boy is doing that thing in front of the car as Darth Vader and like, yeah, what product was it? I don't remember what it was, but it was sure good. Or you remember the Budweiser or whatever, whatever thing, the phrase that sticks out, right? So I'm wondering if we're gonna enter it. I don't know if it'd be this year, but I almost expect QR codes like, "Here, download the phrase, download the prompt," and, it'll load right into, Gemini for you and tell you all about whatever kind of thing and get you engaged
So
using
Mitchell,
AI or
that's
something like.
if I were Google or AI, what I would have gone to the traditional advertisers and say, let's make your commercial with AI embedded or have AI do it. And then as the commercial run, have this commercial was created, produced by AI. And then with the QR codes that takes you to how they did it, what was the prompt and all of that. And to show people, hey, you think AI is not useful? Look what we did here. That would be really cool. And you could probably pay less than the 8 million. Well,
Maybe I'm living in the past, but you wonder if maybe the big breakthrough moment isn't this year, but maybe it's when Apple does its big push with Apple Intelligence or some sort of something involving AI, where Apple they are so effective at advertising, regardless of what they do. I always wonder if they're the ones who really push it to the mainstream in a
so
future Super Bowl. This
Steve
lays the
Jobs
groundwork.
Apple, John. Steve Jobs Apple.
I know.
I don't know
You're
if
right.
today's Apple is the king of innovation, even in advertising,
Not.
let alone product.
I think their ads are better than their products, to be honest with you. I mean, the last few years, that's the highlight with Cook. He's a caretaker, but that's another topic.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we'll see any deep sea commercials.
I don't think so. I think you're right with that.
Yeah, and it's not because of an
I
executive order either. But yeah, they're not going to. But
They're the new TikTok,
to me,
I think when they take over our screens, and this deep sea.
careful. But this is, to me, this is be interesting to see if this is the crossing the chasm moment. Right? Because Lisa and John, you guys are out in Silicon Valley, Salagna, Mitch and we live in a bubble.
We're in the
Right?
hinterlands out here. We
I
don't
was
get all
telling
the
Mike Bizarre
Oh,
the other day, no, come on, we talk about AI every day on here. Go talk to people watching the Super Bowl in Kansas. Well, everyone in Kansas City
Wyoming.
is going to watch the Super Bowl
Wyoming.
because
What
they
do
sent their
say?
money into the referees. But
that was yesterday's episode.
right.
Yeah.
Go to Iowa, go to Ohio, go
Right.
to Kentucky, and and I'm not saying
Oh,
they're
yeah, I mean,
backwards.
Yeah, we live in a bubble out here, I think, but Lisa and I would agree with this. I mean, we're surrounded by everywhere I turn, I see a Tesla everywhere on the roads. I see Waymos everywhere, driverless cars driving around. I overhear people at coffee shops talking about AI or their investments, but I think that's an anomaly. I mean, we're just like kind of caught up in who we are or what this is or
We
what
have a
the
lot of
monetization of
Teslas here too, though. That's not the electric car of choice here. I think the Beamers have. Well, there's probably more Teslas electric than Beamers electric here, but
Well, just like the billboards on the freeway,
yeah.
you can't avoid it. It's inescapable. You're driving, and you
Yeah,
see
so
these
I don't think
there's
you
a
see that
reminder
in
everywhere you
Tennessee.
go.
Maybe Nashville area, but I don't, that's going to be to me the interesting thing. Are there going to be a lot of people, Mr. and Mrs. Mom, Pa America, who see these commercials and saying, dang, what is this stuff? Right? I've never heard of this Anthropic. Who's that Claude fella?
Also, Mitch sent me some really interesting thoughts yesterday. We were looking at Gemini 2 rollout, and there are just so many options that they're just coming out willy-nilly, one after another, which kind of builds into the confusion. And I think folks out there, they have no idea what's happening. And these ads, they just need a foundational knowledge just to begin with about what the hell this means to them.
I mentioned the Shimmy Says I did last Thursday. One of the things I said on there is AI still in search of its killer app? Right? Because I don't know if we've seen the killer app for AI yet. Mark Cuban said something. I said it last Thursday. He said the first trillionaire probably won't come from like one of the richest people in the world. It's not going to be Elon or Bezos or Zuckerberg. It's going to be the person who harnesses AI in a way we haven't thought of before, and it explodes. And that will make the world's first trillionaire. And
That's that new applications of AI we haven't thought of yet.
someone's going to do
AI
that.
better what we already do.
And Mitchell, to a point you were talking about yesterday about evolutionary versus revolutionary. It may not be necessarily revolutionary, it may be evolutionary, but it's going to open the gates and that'll make your first trillionaire. And
I'm wondering if not that I have a desire to be right, I do, but I wonder if the Super Bowl ads will confirm what I've said about the user experience with AI. Generative AI is broken. The idea of everybody in the world is going to be an expert of have to become an expert at what LLM should I use? When would 03 versus 01? Is that better for this task or that? Mom, Pa, and whoever else are not going to be interested in that. Matter of fact, I don't want to worry about that. If I'm writing code, I want it to know what
right,
LLM
you
to
shouldn't
use.
have to
Figure
pick
it out
what
for me.
model.
Yeah,
But
we
this
shouldn't be in
to
the
me
prompt
is,
the LLM.
remember, Mitchell, they used to run out like when Web 2.0 was the hot thing. They were constantly updating, how many RSS formulas and standards and all of that stuff. It's going to be interesting, but to make for a good Super Bowl or a good ad watching for the Super Bowl. I don't know how it'll affect the game. You know, but someone might have share an account with a friend who's a known gambler, as we were talking about last Thursday on this. So
Just have your robots ready to bring you more beer, pizza, and chips so you don't have to
that'll
distract
work.
yourself from the commercials.
That'll work. All righty, let's take a break here on Techstrong Gang. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about, this is like a William Jennings Bryan question. Should we move off the gold standard and moving over to a Bitcoin reserve? I don't know. You're watching Techstrong Gang.
Discover Techstrong Group, the epicenter of tech innovation. We're your go-to for reaching IT leaders and practitioners worldwide. Our secret? Impactful content that sparks awareness, engagement, and top-quality leads. With us, you'll access editorial websites, streaming videos, virtual events, custom content, analyst research, and more. Join our satisfied clients. Let's revolutionize your tech journey. Contact us today and tell your story to the world in the most powerful way with Techstrong Group.
Hey everyone, we're back here on Techstrong Gang. As I alluded to before the break, there's a move afoot anyway, maybe to move. I don't think we were actually on the gold standard again since William Jennings Bryan in the election of 1896 or something like that. But we are potentially moving to a Bitcoin reserve on the federal end of things. And what could go wrong? It seems the crypto czar, who's also the cybersecurity czar, and that's an interesting combination anyway. Sachs wants to have a potential Bitcoin reserve so that we have we have reserves in case there's an all-out crypto war. I have another theory. And there's other stuff. The Congress is moving on this. There's been, this has created a whole tornado of excitement and buzz in the crypto world. Mitch, let's go to you on this to start. What do you think?
Well, David Sachs, who is PayPal fame, right? He was one of the folks that
PayPal
became,
Mafia.
PayPal Mafia, yep. He's actually AI czar, I think, in addition to crypto czar. So, yeah, he's kind of czar of everything, I guess, in technology-wise.
Let's face it, he's Elon's friend.
He's Elon's part of the mafia, part of the group for sure. What's interesting is, just not to get too political here, but Trump has gone from crypto is dangerous, I'm not sure about it, we should stay away from it, to, doing his own crypto coins and kind of pulling wealth out of a lot of his followers that as his crypto coin dropped after the election. But there's a lot of discussion of creating wealth funds for the United States.
Sovereign funds.
Possibly creating more crypto, possibly creating something that, I don't know about the dollar being based on it. For folks that don't know what that's all about, a long time ago, our dollar was backed by gold. It was backed by the gold in Fort Knox. And, so you knew that the full faith, not of the government, but of our gold reserves were backing up the value of the dollar. Now it's not. It's full faith in word of the government. So I think that's just, I can't imagine the markets are going to be really all excited about moving on to a crypto standard for backing the dollar. People in crypto, sure, I'm sure they would love it, but I think it's just more of crypto entering its next phase of being sort of this tangential thing that other people are doing, and maybe people are getting rich on it. And I see my friends on Facebook selling stuff that help you, get rich quick, to maybe becoming more of a mainstream type of currency. But we'll see. I can't imagine our government's going to be building itself around crypto. But then again, I couldn't imagine Musk going in and see all the bills we pay either. So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So Trump, I guess when he was campaigning, pledged to be the crypto president and promote adoption of digital assets, which is quite a difference from the previous administration. I think under Biden, the regulators were looking at crypto as a source of fraud and money laundering, and
Well,
we're
they
trying to
didn't
crack
find
down
any,
on you.
did they?
They sued Coinbase.
There are people
Binance, and
sitting in
others.
jail.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And so they actively looked into it. So of course we're going to expect the opposite again, without being too political about it. And I think now it's open game. So in a sense, it starts at the top, and but the fact that Sachs is, as Mitch pointed out, the czar of not just crypto but AI is very significant. And plus, with the work of Musk and their interest in this topic, I think they're just going to plow this through and just push this as hard as possible and see how far they can take.
Maybe that's how we'll fund rebuilding Gaza.
No, I heard
The Riviera of
Caesars
the
and
Middle East.
MGM's doing
that's not.
that
That's
one.
actually not. That's not an impossible concept.
That's a half
Honestly.
serious idea.
I'm actually thinking if anybody from the White House watches this, it'll be an action item.
Yeah, it'll be announced this afternoon.
So let
Yeah,
me
exactly.
don't even go there. Let me play a new game here on Techstrong Gang. I'm going to give you Shimmy's top 3 outcomes or potential
Shims.
things as a result of this. And you can tell me how likely you think they are. One potential story. Crypto czar Sachs says we should put a portion of our Bitcoin reserves into Trump coin, thereby enriching our sitting president by buying his crypto coin. We don't care about conflicts here anymore. How likely do you think that is?
If you're not conflicted, you're not interested.
Why should we start now? Number 2, between the tariffs and everything else that we do, the rest of the world gets so PO'd at us that the world goes off the dollar as the world currency of the standard. And as a result, we damn well better have some Bitcoin in reserve because that might be the only thing saving us. Number three, I mean, likely outcomes. What could go wrong here? We put a ton of money into our Bitcoin reserves and something happens and the Bitcoin market washes out and we double our $37 trillion debt because all of that money is now worthless. And old man Potter is here, right? To move us all into Potterville. That's very possible. Very possible.
I have a fourth one for
Go
you.
ahead.
Bitcoin, moving to the Bitcoin standard or crypto standard to back the dollar is highly successful. And then someone in the Trump administration loses the private key to the blockchain.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
It's all possible. But
It was just numbers. I didn't know what it was.
yeah, but let me, all of this crypto craziness is leading like it always does, right? Mitch, you said there are people selling get-rich-quick schemes. Some poor schnook in Canada stole $65 million in crypto in some platform hacks. It's on our Security Boulevard if you're interested in that story. That's a lot of Bitcoin.
It's a lot of money.
Even at today's prices. That's a lot of Bitcoin. So are we, we've all, I think those of us in the tech world have kind of taken for granted that blockchain, which, underlines all of Bitcoin's foundational stability and security, that blockchain is what blockchain is. And of course, with quantum and everything else, we don't know what it's going to be with that. But, all of this crypto craziness, we're going to have plenty of people, trying to make out some money here, the old-fashioned way, stealing it.
I think you'd have a lot of people withdrawing money out of the bank and putting it in their mattress who don't understand crypto. Like, what is going on?
You know what? There's an argument to be made for those people,
Mm-hmm.
right? The same way in the Depression, people didn't trust banks,
Mhm.
and that's why they kept it
Yeah.
in their mattress.
Invested in diamonds and gold and
Sure.
physical things.
Sure. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. If you couldn't tell,
It's funny,
Go ahead.
Ellen. It was when you mentioned William Jennings Bryan. I think of like 1900 era, and this almost weird fascination that Trump has with that era, whether it's McKinley or this, like just kind of going back with tariffs and crypto. It all seems like part of like this theme of a different type of America, a different type of enrichments. I just
No, but
it's just
John,
something
you're
that
onto
keeps cropping
something
up.
there because it's a vision of an imperial America, right? This is when America was grabbing up the Philippines and Puerto Rico and, the Mexican American, not Mexican, the Spanish American War with
Spanish
all of
American
that.
War, yeah.
And, it was an imperial era of the robber barons and imperial. What's different today? We want Greenland. We want Canada. I want the Panama Canal back. I want to make Gaza, Las Vegas, or the
Yeah.
Riviera, whatever.
Or Havana, back
Yeah.
Cuba
Yeah,
in
right.
the
Exactly.
50s. Yeah.
It's a vision. That is the MAGA. And I don't want to make this political, but part of the MAGA
But I mean,
vision
it's
is
just
a return to an imperial America, right? Where we don't
yes, and
care
it's
about
pretty
minorities and there's no such thing as climate change. I saw a thing Marco Rubio pulled out of the G20 meeting because those crazy people in South Africa, they just want to talk about DEI and climate change. And we don't talk about that.
But yeah, and the difference now is that the application of technology in a weird way through the new oligarchs who are the people who are from Silicon Valley, the billionaires from trillionaire companies. They are now having that impact, like previously other industries that dominated the world economy. So in a
Technology
weird
is the
it's
trains
very
and shipping and coal
Right. No,
of this
these
world.
may
exactly.
be the new Rockefellers,
Yeah.
Vanderbilts, and
Yes.
JP Morgans. Who knows? Anyway, let's take a break here on Techstrong Gang while we're spreading all this good cheer around. Come back and talk about something else. You're watching Techstrong Gang.
SecurityBoulevard.com is the leading resource for news, analysis, and education on challenges facing the cybersecurity industry. SecurityBoulevard.com covers all aspects of cybersecurity, including data security, DevSecOps, cloud security, application security, network security, security threats, and more. SecurityBoulevard.com has the largest selection of security content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.securityboulevard.com to learn more. SecurityBoulevard.com, home of Security Bloggers Network.
Welcome back to Techstrong Gang. Hey, there's a very interesting lawsuit that was filed in San Francisco federal court by an individual who claims that Amazon has been tracking and selling California residents' sensitive movements and location versus via precise time-stamped latitude and longitude geolocations. Sounds like Big Brother to me, and even 1984 that we talked about earlier. This lawsuit further states that people in general have not agreed to allow Amazon to collect or sell their sensitive data, and there is no mechanism to opt out of Amazon's data collection practices. So this is kind of playing into this idea that we, the citizens, are the product and are fueling these data machines. And the more that we do this, the more that we are being monitored or being surveilled by them, especially companies with vast amounts of data like Google, Meta, and Amazon. And Lisa, I'm wondering what you think this lawsuit tells us, or where you think it might lead to.
This is the exact reason why I don't have any of those devices. I just feel like I don't need anything else listening, but it never occurred to me that they would be giving data away like name, address, phone numbers, payment information, age, IP address, but also they may collect personal information relating to other people residing at the residence. That scares me, and that's a concern, especially because of CPRA in California. What's going on there? It's definitely a message that Amazon should combat. But what they were apparently doing was Amazon Ads SDK have been developers putting them into their mobile apps, getting all this information to advertisers that the user isn't aware of. If somebody's simply in their kitchen wanting to ask the little hockey puck thing how many quarts in a gallon, they're not thinking about that, and it's actually scary that it's giving away so much information. Not just listening to what you're saying, but it's really digging in, according to the lawsuit, really personal information that it's sharing with all these advertisers to make your, I guess they would say, make your experience more hyper personalized and relevant, which is what we want as consumers. But at what price?
Well, it's also invading into our phones too, because apps, well, I think in this particular article, they talked about speed test. You enable location services so it knows where you are and what provider to best test, the speed test with. But that also gives ads, Amazon ads that are probably Google too, that are running as part of that application, the ads in the app, then have access to location information. And that's part of what they're collecting. And there's also just even on the iPhone, I don't know about Android, there is a frequently visited locations setting in your settings that it keeps track of, you have a habit of going to this Starbucks and this, grocery store and, your home or whatever it is. And so it knows locations that you frequent and then can also personalize based on that as well. So there's a lot of data that is being collected about us that we give away. We say we're okay with but it isn't specific, broad, generalized collecting information about us, right?
There's never been a better tracking. Oh, sorry,
No,
Solange,
go
you go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's never been a better tracking device for a human being than the smartphone because it's affixed to us and we're constantly on it. So if anyone has any interest in what we are, what we're doing, just follow the data on the smartphone.
Always seems to be following us everywhere. I don't know why it happens. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's inescapable nowadays. This reminds me of when you go to search something on Google and then it asks you your device location. So you would have to put it in order to filter your search. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like Mitch, you said that it's required to personalize the results for the customers, which is what we want. But at the same time, it's also like I feel like if companies could find a way to really handle the data well and not really give away without the consent of the customers, that would be nice to begin with. So yeah, this is quite scary for me as well if it is what they say it is.
I mean, I know when I get in my car in the morning, my Apple Maps pops up and says, going to the office with the address. And when I get in my car in the afternoon, it wants to take me home. So obviously it's tracking where I go at what time. But here's my point. Look, more power to this guy who filed the lawsuit. I assume it's going to be a class action at some point, not just a person.
I believe so.
But here's the key. And I wish I had polling for people watching this. But guys, didn't we already think this is happening? This is not new. This is not new.
Right. Right.
My wife and I earlier this week, we're going to New York later in February. And my wife said, I looked at the weather. It's going to be freezing up there. It might snow. We don't really have any boots. And both of our phones immediately started showing boot ads on the webs, on Amazon, on the web, on Google search, everything. So it's happening. It's a fact of digital life that this is what's going on. The question is, do we consent? Is it being done without our consent? Consent so that the next time some Chinese company wakes up with a new AI, we say, oh, they took our information without our consent. No, everyone's been taking our information without our consent. And we don't seem to give a damn.
That's the irony of this is that on one hand, we're up in arms about DeepSeek and what it's doing with data. I mean, understandably, if it's being being relayed to China, but yet this is going on in our country all the
Every
time.
moment. And here's
All the
another thing.
time.
There's a generational element to this. I read an article in the Atlantic the other day about where did things go off the tracks in America between, it was about the falling of the Tower of Babel and maybe building Babel back up or whatever. And, and it's about social media. The author blames social media because at some point around 2011, it crossed from pure innocent Facebook. What was the predecessor to Facebook? The other one we used to use? MySpace.
Oh,
MySpace.
MySpace.
It was a great
Yeah.
way to catch up with old friends. But now social media becomes your digital gang, your digital tribe, right? You hang out with your tribe and you do digital warfare against the other tribes. And, and it just breeds distrust in anyone who's not in your tribe. but the key thing about it is it's so generational, where I'm not saying you're old, Mitchell, or me, but the idea of them collecting or invading our privacy, like without my permission, kind of pisses me off.
Well, it's the tendency of filling the vacuum as far as you can fill it with what you think you might be able to do versus what you're explicitly allowed to
But
do.
younger
right?
people they assume that there's no right to privacy. Well, the Supreme Court said there was no right to privacy, right? Well, let's not go there. But the right to privacy in younger people is almost non-existent, or much, much lower than maybe Mitch or I or John, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
willingness to give it up.
I think they've entered into like this tacit agreement that there is a trade-off, right? For the convenience sake of
Yes.
convenience. It's always about convenience, right? So on one hand, your
Yes.
life is easier, but you make compromises until you are affected in some way, maybe ID theft or whatever, and then you become interested to the other extreme. Then you become alarmed, and I think this is just a pattern that's been going on for decades, actually.
But back to this article, and I'll try to find the article, but it's probably behind a paywall on the Atlantic. But the point he was making was in Facebook, when this whole thing switched on us and made us the monsters we are today, is all of a sudden, for some reason, we became comfortable sharing intimate details of our life with strangers. It used to be, if you were at the bar with your friends, your buddies, you could talk to your buddies. It was a small group. I saw them. If the women were out doing whatever you do, also at a bar or at a dinner, you could talk to your girlfriends, right? Salagna, Lisa, you had your girlfriends that you did intimate secrets with. Well, but at some point, we crossed a chasm of sharing our intimate secrets with all of our online touch points, which may be in the thousands. And some of us just put it on public anyway, not even caring who sees it, or friends of friends of friends of friends see it. And once you cross that chasm where you're just putting it out there, of course, what do you expect? No one's going to use it. No one's going to see it. No one's going to do anything. So that was the switch that went off around 2011, according to this article, that just really hyper accelerated the tribalism and the craziness, right? And along with that is a lack of trust of what used to be trusted sources, such as the mainstream media, right? Because everyone in your tribe says, don't trust them. And let me show you some examples. And they may have real examples or not, but who knows and who cares, right? And it's a fascinating article. And by the way, it's not a right or a left article.
Yeah, no, it can apply to
Because
it's
if you
interesting.
look at the very far right and the very far left, you know what? The demographics are the same. They're white people who make a lot of money. And they're the loudest. 8% is far left, 6% is far right. They're the loudest people online. That whole middle.
Facebook used to do this. Like Sheryl Sandberg, I mean, we used to interview her a lot, and she would always talk about, if you really want to be engaged with your audience and you really want to build on that audience, you have to share more. The more you talk about yourself, the more you share in general, the better the product is, and you benefit from all the likes, like this addictive kind of
And the
behavior.
more we could fine-tune our algorithms, right, to give you what you want.
Yes.
Well,
Right,
this is
to personalize it.
the result. It's going to be interesting. As I said, the courts have been whittling away a right to privacy for some time, right, including Roe, overturning Roe. And so it's going to be, San Francisco federal court's probably a little more liberal than most, but it's going to be interesting to see, do we in fact have a right to privacy to our digital footprint? And that has all kinds of implications.
That's the GDPR to bring up regulation. It doesn't even necessarily protect us with this or provide protections with this because it does mention location information, but only as far as a gateway to figuring out other things about you,
I don't think you could
not
say this is
location data itself.
PII.
No. Well, I think you could. The fact that I go to a certain store every Monday and Tuesday, I think that's
Yeah, but
personal information.
well, yeah.
There's things that can lead to data that can lead to identifying who you are individually is PII. So it's not classified as PII that's protected. It's classified as data that could lead to data that can determine who you are. So it's kind of secondary right now. Maybe that'll change. I don't know.
Interesting. Interesting. Guys, what a great Techstrong Gang on this fine Friday. We need to end it. I've got to get over to New Orleans and I got a couple of referees to talk to. So
Yeah.
Start
Give
your
him some
Bitcoin
shimmy coin
business.
and,
I'll
and,
put
and
some
they'll do
shimmy
whatever you
coin
like.
on this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Lisa, John, Salagna, Mitch, thanks for joining in. Thank you for watching. As usual, we have Techstrong TV not all day, but for the next couple hours after our gang show today. Stay tuned for that. We'll be back Monday, maybe talking about the Super Bowl and what our favorite ads were. Will they be the AI ones? I don't know. I always like the Budweiser Clydesdale commercials. They do a good job with them. But for now, that's it for this. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everyone. This is Alan Schimmel for Techstrong. We're out of here.